a barn somewhere in the hills, a horse named Superior, and honestly, you couldn't pick a better name if you tried. A photographer counting down from 3. A woman in cowboy boots, visibly pregnant, leaning into the animal's shoulder while a man in a wife-beater and a backwards hat adjusts his buckle and tells the camera he kind of matches the aesthetic. The light catches right. The horse cooperates just long enough. The pictures look, and I'm being precise here, curated. What's sitting in a Nevada courthouse under that same man's government name is a $13 million civil judgment. If you've worked a booking desk, a royalty department, or a family court intake window in the last 18 months, you already know what I'm about to pull up. Real quick, before we walk into the actual paper trail, if this is the kind of read that belongs on your feed, you already know what to do. These receipts go further than the horse. Johnathan Michael Porter, known everywhere as Blueface, walked out of a California state prison on November 3, 2025, after serving roughly 2 years of a 4-year sentence for probation violation tied to a 2021 assault at a North Hollywood lounge. His current partner, Nevaeh, Akira, confirmed her pregnancy on a Twitch stream February 22, 2026. His 4th child. Her first. A March 1st gender reveal announced a boy named Solar Porter. The cowboy maternity shoot now circulating was filmed at an equestrian facility with a horse, a photographer, and Nevaeh's son from a previous relationship. What the frame doesn't capture: a Nevada civil judgment, a garnished royalty stream, a denied paternity claim, and a boxing contract dispute, all active, all under the same government name. The part one keep coming back to isn't the wardrobe or the horse. It's the calendar, the royalty garnishment, the boxing fine, the paternity denial, and this maternity shoot all landed inside the same 60-day window. We'll get to what that window actually means, but first, let me lay the paper on the table. Exhibit 1, February 22, 2026. Twitch stream. Porter holds up 2 positive pregnancy tests to the camera. His reaction, captured and circulated across social media within hours. You having a Blueface baby. Woo. Then turning to the stream, y'all better congratulate me. Then to Nevaeh, welcome to the Blueface Cavaliers, baby. You've been selected. You're having a Blueface baby. Congratulations. You made it. Cavaliers. Selected. Made it. That's a draft announcement, not a family conversation. The language is roster language, the same vocabulary he uses for women he cycles through on stream. And Nevaeh's response on the same broadcast: I aborted the last one, but it feels immaculate. I'm going to let that one sit without comment. Exhibit 2, January 14th, 2026, 39 days before the pregnancy announcement. Porter posts to X, formerly Twitter: Nevaeh has been cut from the roster. She did not make the team. This is a dictatorship, not a democracy. He adds, if you can't wait your turn, you won't get a turn. The line is getting long, baby girl. Nevaeh's response on her own Instagram story: how the fuck you gone cut me, and I took myself the fuck out. So, cut from the team on January 14th, pregnant, and celebrated on February 22nd. 39 days. That's the filing. That's on paper. Exhibit 3, August 9th, 2024. Los Angeles County Superior Court. Porter sentenced to 4 years in prison for violating probation stemming from a 2021 battery at a North Hollywood lounge. His manager, Wack 100, told TMZ that the sentencing was triggered after Porter was caught with drug paraphernalia, which pushed the judge to hand down the maximum. His father fought back tears on camera delivering the news. Porter had already served 440 days at the time of sentencing. He was transferred to North Kern State Prison. Exhibit 4, a Nevada civil court. A judge orders Porter to pay Euphoric Gentlemen's Club, a Las Vegas strip club, more than $13 million in damages connected to an October 2022 shooting at the venue. The award covers lost revenues and lease payments. $13 million. That figure isn't a typo, and it isn't a negotiation position. It's a judgment. Exhibit 5, March 6, 2026. Porter posts to X, Junior is not my biological son. R.I.P. to his father, Ronnie. I can no longer continue the plot. It doesn't feel right as a present father. in all my kid's life to be discredited as an absence father to a child that is not biologically mine. He's referring to Chrisean Jesus Malone, Jr., born September 3rd, 2023, to Chrisean Rock, Porter's most public relationship documented across reality television and social media from 2020 through 2023. Exhibit 6, March 14th, 2026. BrandRisk Warehouse, Miami. Porter fights internet personality Chibu in a 6-round exhibition boxing match headlined by Adin Ross's promotion. Porter loses by unanimous decision. Ross subsequently posts that Porter breached his fight contract, is being fined $100,000, and will not be paid for the bout. Porter's response: he claims he's owed $300,000 for the appearance. That's the filing. 6 exhibits. All dated. All documented. Now, let me show you what happens when you put them on top of each other. Okay, so here's where the timeline starts doing something I had to read twice. December 2025. Nevaeh Akira appears on Porter's Instagram story with a fresh tattoo of his government name, Johnathan, inked across her face. She defends it publicly. I'm locked in long term. She later walks it back. A tattoo is just a tattoo, y'all. January 12th, 2026. Porter does a live stream with Stunna-Girl. Nevaeh reacts. 2 days later, the cut from the roster tweet. January 14th to February 22nd. 39 days between she did not make the team and welcome to the Cavaliers. That's not a reconciliation arc. That's a cycle. And it's a cycle that mirrors almost exactly the rhythm of his previous relationships. The public cut, the public return, the public escalation, the public announcement. Each beat generates content. Each beat generates clips. Each beat generates stream viewers. Wait, let me reread that part. The face tattoo was December. The cut was January. The pregnancy was February. The gender reveal was March 1st. The paternity denial was March 6th. The boxing fight was March 14th. And the maternity shoot, the one we're looking at, is circulating right now in the middle of all of it. That's a 60-day window. And inside that window, a pregnancy announcement, a gender reveal, a paternity denial of a different child, a boxing match loss, a $100,000 fine, a $300,000 payment dispute, and a curated cowboy photo shoot with a horse named Superior. Somebody in the comments has to know whether that royalty garnishment order, the one redirecting his ASCAP and BMI payments toward that $131,000 default judgment, was actively enforced during the same month the shoot was booked, because every search I ran came back with the filing but not the enforcement date. That's not a throwaway question. If the garnishment was live while he was paying for a photographer, a horse rental cowboy gear, and a venue, the money trail matters. Because $13 million isn't something you service with streaming residuals from a song that peaked in 2019. Thoshiana has 433 million Spotify streams. It's RIA Platinum. But platinum certification is a lifetime total, and royalty splits mean the artist sees a fraction, and that fraction is now being garnished. So, the question isn't whether Porter can afford a photo shoot. The question is what the photo shoot is doing in the middle of a financial and legal pileup this dense. And that's where the magnifier comes in. Let me pull up the behind-the-scenes footage from the shoot itself, the raw video that's circulating alongside the finished photos. The photographer is directing poses. At one point, someone off-camera says about Porter, he want all this in the background. He want to sell the effect. That's a photographer describing a client's instructions. Porter wanted the building, the landscape, the horse, the full visual package. Sell the effect. The photographer's words, not mine. But that language, sell effect, aesthetic, that's manufacturing language. That's the vocabulary of someone who understands that what's being produced isn't a family memory. It's an asset. December 2025. The face tattoo. Nevaeh's face, Porter's government name inked in. She calls it locked in. A week later, she calls it just a tattoo. Then the roster cut. Then the pregnancy. The tattoo went from commitment to commodity in 7 days, and the internet archived every step. The Wayback Machine doesn't forget. Instagram doesn't forget. The stream clips don't forget. Actually, hold up. I had to read this twice to make sure I wasn't seeing things. In that same pregnancy announcement stream, Porter offers what he calls a prayer. Direct quote, "Lord, I don't mind if we have a baby, you know? I love kids. She's a beautiful young lady, and I love her, and she loved me too. But I swear for God, she let somebody fuck while she pregnant. That means I'ma knock her dumbass out. In the name of Jesus." That's a tier 1 hard receipt. It's on video. It's archived. It's not a joke in passing. It's a stated conditional threat delivered as a prayer on a public stream while his partner is sitting next to him. The same stream where he celebrates the pregnancy. The same stream where he calls her his first bad baby mama and expresses concern that other rappers will want to sleep with her because of her appearance. Third lens. Business. Porter's debut album, Find the Beat, dropped March 13th, 2020. It peaked at number 64 on the Billboard 200. Critical reception was lukewarm. Hip Hop DX gave it 3 out of 5. Listeners gave it 2.33. The album was delayed 3 times before release, trademark issues, scheduling, label disputes. Since that album, Porter hasn't released a studio project. The music career, the thing that made him famous, has been effectively dormant for 6 years. What replaced it? Reality television, social media drama, boxing exhibitions, a restaurant that closed, legal proceedings, and relationship content. The revenue model shifted from art to altercation. Now, let me check what the outlets are doing with this. Celebrity gossip infrastructure, The Shade Room, Hollywood unlocked the Instagram aggregation accounts. Their read, celebration. Congratulations are in order. Blueface is expecting baby number 4. Nevaeh looks beautiful. The bump is showing. The gender reveal is cute. The maternity shoot is aesthetic goals. What this frame emphasizes, the visual, the cowboy boots, the horse, the happy couple, what it buries, the $13 million judgment, the royalty garnishment, the paternity denial of a different child that happened 5 days before the gender reveal. The frame treats each event as isolated, a pregnancy here, a denial there, a fight over there, and never places them on the same timeline. Because the timeline is the story. The timeline is always the story. Hip-hop media, complex, XXL, hot new hip-hop. Their read. Factual reporting with light context. Complex covered the pregnancy confirmation, the roster cut, the paternity denial, each as a separate news item, each with its own headline, each published days or weeks apart. The connective tissue between stories, the pattern, the cycle, the financial overlay, is left to the reader to assemble, which most readers won't, because most readers consume the headline and move on. The counter-narrative, the one already forming in comment sections and fan accounts. It goes like this: he's trying to do right this time. He's out of prison. He's with Nevaeh. He's excited about the baby. Let him be a father. People change. And I want to sit with that one for a second because it deserves a real answer, not a dismissive one. Here's the honest read. Is it possible that Johnathan Porter at 29, having served 2 years, is genuinely attempting a reset? Yes, it's possible. Prison changes people. Time changes people. The desire to be present for a new child, that's a real human impulse, and I'm not going to pretend it isn't. But the same man who posted, "I can no longer continue the plot," about his 2-year-old son on March 6th, 5 days before a gender reveal for the next one, is asking us to believe he's turning a corner. The same man who threatened his pregnant partner on stream, in the same breath as celebrating the pregnancy, is asking us to see the cowboy photo shoot as evidence of growth. And here's the part the counter-narrative doesn't account for. Chrisean Rock posted a paternity test in February 2025 that appeared to confirm Porter as the father of Chrisean Jr. Porter initially denied paternity in December 2023. Then in November 2025, he was seen on stream calling Chrisean Jr. his son and calling paternity questions dumb. Then in March 2026, he denied it again, attributing fatherhood to a man named Ronnie, who is deceased and cannot confirm or deny. That's not a man uncertain about his paternal status. That's a man using paternity as a content lever, claiming and disclaiming the same child based on which narrative serves the current stream cycle. So, when the counter-narrative says, "Let him be a father," the paper trail responds, "Which child? Under what terms? For how long before the next roster cut?" The dismantling doesn't need insults. It has dates, transition, and I want this one to be felt, not announced, so I'm going to get quiet for a second. The horse stood still for the camera. That's what the photographer said. He's staying still. That's the good part. And he did. The horse stayed. The horse was the most reliable presence in the entire shoot. Okay, back to the paper. The mainstream read on this story is, Blueface is having another baby. The maternity shoot looks nice. Congratulations are in order. Here are the photos. That's the feed version. It's the version that generates likes and shares and comments that say congrats and move on. I'm going to pivot away from that now. And the pivot is this. The cowboy maternity shoot isn't a family moment. It's an image operation staged inside a financial crisis. Here's the thesis. Johnathan Porter has converted fatherhood into a content format. The pregnancy announcement is a stream event. The gender reveal is a stream event. The maternity shoot is a video asset. The paternity denial is a tweet. The roster cut is a tweet. The reconciliation is a clip. Every beat of his reproductive life, from conception announcement to photoshoot, is produced, staged, and distributed as engagement material. And the platform rewards it because the algorithm doesn't distinguish between a genuine family milestone and a manufactured one. It only reads interaction, comments, watch time, shares. Now the new reasoning. And this is where I lean in. Porter came home from prison to a financial situation that most of his audience hasn't totaled up. $13 million owed to a Las Vegas strip club. A $131,000 default judgment with his royalty stream being redirected to service it. A boxing fight where he claims he's owed $300,000 and the promoter says he's being fined $100,000 for breach, meaning the net position on that fight is somewhere between negative $100,000 and positive $300,000. And neither side has produced a contract for public review. His music catalog, the actual product that made him a public figure, hasn't produced a new studio album since 2020. Thoshiana still streams. Yes. 433 million plays. But streaming revenue at his likely royalty rate, split with label and publishing after garnishment, is a trickle, not a river. So, where's the money coming from? The streams, the boxing, the content, the relationship drama that keeps the streams populated and the clips circulating. And the single most reliable content engine in his portfolio, the thing that has generated more clips, more headlines, more engagement, more discourse than any song he's ever released, is his romantic and reproductive life. This is a man who's manufacturing fatherhood as content while the court documents tell a different story. And I'm not softening that. The Blueface Cavalier's draft language isn't a joke, he said once. It's a framework. Women are drafted. Women are cut. Pregnancies are announced on stream. Gender reveals are stream events. Maternity shoots are video assets. And the child at the center of all of it, Solar Porter, not yet born, is already, before taking a breath, a character in a content architecture built by a man whose last 3 children exist in 3 different legal and relational statuses across 3 different mothers. One child with Jaidyn Alexis, Javon, born 2017, who Porter has publicly visited and posted about, though the consistency of that presence is a matter of public dispute. One child with Jaidyn Alexis, Journey, born 2021, who goes by Pinkface online and has gone viral for her behavior in Porter's content. One child with Chrisean Rock, Chrisean Jr., born 2023, whose paternity Porter has now denied, claimed, and denied again across a 28-month period. And now Solar. Child number 4. Mother number 3. A cowboy shoot. A horse named Superior. Here are the jabs, and I want them to land different ways. The first one is almost sympathetic. It's possible to want to be a good father and still not know how. Wanting it doesn't make it real. The paper is what makes it real. And the paper is not cooperating with the narrative. The second is dry. If your royalty stream is being garnished and you owe $13 million to a strip club, the cowboy hat is not the thing that needs your attention. The third is the one that sits. The same month you told the internet your 2-year-old son isn't yours, you staged a photo shoot welcoming the next one. 5 days apart. The internet has a memory, even when the individual doesn't seem to. The fourth is structural. The algorithm doesn't know the difference between a father and a content creator who plays one on stream. It just knows engagement. And engagement is what pays the garnishment. The fifth is the one I can't let go. I can no longer continue the plot. That's what he wrote about Chrisean Jr., the plot. A child's paternity described in the language of a storyline. If a child is a plot, then a maternity shoot is a set piece. And a horse named Superior is a prop. Okay, so if that's where the money actually is in the content, in the streams, in the cycle, then the shoot isn't a photo op. It's an asset. A piece of content staged to generate engagement that generates revenue that services debt that keeps the operation running. The family in the frame is real. The people in it are real. The baby is real. But the frame itself, the cowboy hats, the horse, the careful lighting, the behind-the-scenes video designed to circulate, is built for a purpose. And the purpose isn't memory. It's monetization. And the closer, Solar Porter hasn't been born yet. He's already in the content. The most probable outcome, given the pattern and the paper, Solar Porter arrives. The birth is streamed or posted within hours. Clips circulate. Porter makes content from the hospital. Within 60 to 90 days of the birth, a conflict with Nevaeh surfaces on stream. The cycle repeats. The roster language returns. The internet reacts. The clips generate engagement. The engagement generates revenue. The revenue services the debts that are still on the books. The $13 million judgment doesn't disappear. The royalty garnishment doesn't stop. But the content cycle keeps the operation afloat because the operation was never music. It was always the drama. By the time Solar Porter's first birthday hits, don't be surprised if the relationship status with Nevaeh has publicly changed at least twice. The pattern across every prior relationship, Jaidyn, Chrisean, now Nevaeh, follows the same beat structure. Announcement, escalation, conflict, cut, return, escalation again. The cycle isn't a malfunction. It's the product, the wild card, the outcome that flips the table. Chrisean Rock's paternity test from February 2025 is still in the public record. If a court, not a social media post, an actual court, ever adjudicates the paternity of Chrisean Jr., the result either confirms Porter as the father and exposes the denial as fabrication, or it doesn't, and the entire public narrative around that child shifts. Either outcome is a content earthquake. Either outcome generates months of material. And either outcome affects the legal posture around child support, custody, and parental rights across all 4 children, which means it affects the financial exposure, which means it affects the garnishment, which means it affects the operation. The residue, and this is the 5-year read. The cultural residue isn't the music. It was never the music. Thoshiana was a moment, a meme, a viral peak, a number 8 on the Hot 100 that crested and receded. What lingers is the blueprint. Porter has demonstrated, accidentally or deliberately, it doesn't matter, that a rapper whose musical output has been effectively dormant for half a decade can sustain a revenue-generating public profile entirely through reproductive drama, relationship cycling, and stream content. The music was the on-ramp. The relationships are the highway. And the highway doesn't require talent. It requires willingness. Willingness to broadcast the private, willingness to stage the intimate, willingness to treat children as plot points and maternity shoots as content drops. 3 reads on where this goes. Pick yours and tell me which. First, the cycle continues, the debts never close, the content never stops, and Solar Porter grows up on camera. Second, a legal intervention, a court, a creditor, a family services review forces the private behind the public and the content engine stalls. Third, the audience exhausts itself on the pattern, engagement drops, the revenue thins, and the operation downshifts into a quieter, less public version of the same dynamics. Those are the 3 doors. The receipts point at door number 1. The receipts usually do. The final beat. A horse named Superior stood still for the camera. The man in the wife beater did not. That 60-day window, the garnishment, the fine, the denial, the shoot, it's all the same papers, same name, same calendar. You saw the pictures. You saw what's underneath them. Bellon. Next case is already loading.